Support for Steppin Out is made possible by local author Sarada Bonnet. In Notes for Forgiveness, Bonnet shares her childhood story as daughter of famed rockabilly singer Sherry Davis. Notes for Forgiveness, available in bookstores and at saradabonnet.com.
Good evening. I'm Peggy Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, Poppy Tooker, host of the WWNO radio program Louisiana Eats. Hi, Poppy.
Hey, Peg.
Great to see you. Hello. John Kemp, art columnist for Louisiana Life magazine. Hey, John. It's great to see you again. It's been a while. Hello. And theater critic Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News. Good to see you.
Hi there.
But first up, yes, Leonard Nimoy, no longer with us.
Sorry.
God bless him. But of course, we are in our Lenten mode, so we want to talk about some seafood.
Oh, yeah,
places.
that means we really have to suffer because it's Lent, you know. And in New Orleans, there's a lot of suffering during Lent. So when I thought about what I wanted to tell people this week concerning eating seafood, I thought, why don't I remind them of my favorite places? And I'm going to give some big reveals and tell you how I really feel about some things. And we're going to start off with a restaurant I adore, Pesh Seafood Grill. Of course, it was the James Beard award-winning Best New Restaurant in 2014, and it was rightly earned. The food is fabulous. Their oysters, they don't mess around and say crudo. They just say raw fish. Have the raw fish. Oh my God, is it good? But the most fantastic thing, get a whole grilled fish for the whole table. The food is wonderful, and I'm constantly shocked to learn that people who live in New Orleans have not yet gone to Pesh. So go, okay? Make that reservation now. And then a restaurant that you don't normally think of for seafood is Cochon. And the reason I love Cochons for seafood so much is because, big reveal, in my opinion, they have the best grilled style oysters. Now they're not really grilled, they're actually baked in their wood burning oven, and they are so good, they are so plump. In my opinion, they're the best in the whole city. And there's something pretty good about an oyster BLT. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's if you're cheating. Just forget about that bacon. Then Johnny Sanchez. I love Johnny Sanchez. I can't eat there enough. And some of my favorite seafood things, their shrimp ceviche is beautiful and delicious. They also make something that's very unusual. I don't think it's been offered in New Orleans much before, and that's the agua chile. And it's like a ceviche, but it's not marinated a long time. It's just quickly tossed in that deliciousness. And I don't like shrimp tacos. I don't like them. I love the shrimp tacos at Johnny Sanchez. They're fried shrimp, not grilled. And there's a delicious sauce that goes with it. And oh my goodness, you can eat well at Johnny Sanchez. Then a favorite that we sometimes forget about. And now here's another one of my big reveals. Pascal's Manali. Oh, yes. Oh gosh, I love Pascal's Manali. How about a little oyster pan roast? But speaking of oysters, I'm going to tell you the truth. That is my favorite place to have raw oysters in the whole city, because they are always so cold, so plump, and so delicious.
Look how big they are.
Oh, they're fabulous. And then, of course, all over the city, you have barbecued shrimp. Remember, this is the place barbecued shrimp were invented, and they're the best there. And then another old classic favorite, the Bon Ton Cafe. Oh, yeah. I love the Bon Ton. I think it's so charming that they've held true to their roots, and they still don't open up on Saturday and Sunday. So have dinner, have lunch, see my dear friends Debbie and Wayne Pierce, have crawfish bisque, the real thing. And here's another real sneaker. I would never order jambalaya in a restaurant. I cannot go to the Bon Ton without having their crawfish jambalaya. It is one of my favorite crawfish dishes in the whole city. And then some exciting news coming on this week is the grand reopening of the Gallery de Absinthe in the Southern Food and Beverage Museum. That's happening tomorrow on Saturday. And my good friend Ryan Hughes, who has Perlou, is doing a special absinthe prefix menu for this occasion tomorrow night. 3 courses for $35, and of course all that's over there on O.C. Haley. And one last mention. Sunday night, my dear friend Thomas Mann, who, there's the reveal, I did coach him a little bit before he competed. He is appearing in the debut of All-Star Academy Sunday night on the Food Network. You may know Thomas Mann, the jeweler. Now you will get to know Thomas Mann, the extraordinary cook.
All right, thank you so much, Poppy. And now it's time, though, for our weekly artist spotlight. And tonight we are highlighting 2 artists. The first work of art is titled Heads of a Man and a Woman, circa 1877-1878, by famed French artist Edgar Degas. Born in Paris, Degas lived for a short time in New Orleans with his brother Rene on Esplanade. Of course, the Degas house is still there and alive and well and open. And so this exhibit, though, Edgar Degas, the private impressionist, works on paper by the artist and his circle, is now on view through May 24th at Newcomb Art Gallery. That's at the Woldenberg Art Center at Tulane University. Visit newcombartgallery.tulane.edu for more information, and very exciting. The second artist is Ray Cole. Take a look at these beautiful pieces of hand-painted silk by Ray Cole. Originally from Blytheville, Arkansas, Cole has remained in New Orleans after studying at UNO to open a clothing boutique. He's been here a long time. He has become internationally respected for his silk paintings on scarves and tapestries. He is among the artists being featured now in an exhibit at the newly opened gallery in the New Orleans Art Center. That's at 3330 St. Claude Avenue through March the 13th. For more information, you can contact Herman Grun at 707-779-9317. And now, though, it is time for Mr. Kemp. Speaking of art.
Speaking of art, okay. Well, it's good that you mentioned Edgar Degas, because the first artist I want to talk about is Phil Sandusky. He has a new show at the Cole Pratt Gallery on Magazine Street, and he's a true impressionist. He's the one that you see throughout the city of New Orleans in the streets, painting houses, painting through the dappled light in the old city neighborhoods, see him in City Park, all over the place. Well, the new show he has at the Cole Pratt is all of his work in New Orleans, in the old neighborhoods. Also, some of the beach scenes over in Ocean Springs. He spent a lot of time there, and he wanted to show you the places that used to be, or at least the empty lots, the post-Katrina areas where he used to spend a lot of time. So he's the true impressionist. He's one of those really rare birds that we have that I really enjoy.
Beautiful that is.
Yeah.
Oh, that is lovely.
And what's so nice about this, he's a plein air painter, which means he paints on location, outdoors. He doesn't paint in the studio, he touch up in the studio, but he feels that to truly capture the light, the mood, and the atmosphere of the scene, you have to be there to feel it, to smell it, and to see it, and also to get the true depth and perspective of what you're painting. So it's a wonderful series of paintings that he's done, and that opens actually tomorrow at the Cole Pratt Gallery. Now, there are 2 other shows that I want to talk about that are radically different from the Impressionist style, but yet the type of work they do goes back to the 19th century also. There are 2 photography shows, 2 photographers. One's at the New Orleans Museum of Art. Her name is Josephine Sacabo. You familiar with her work? Okay. Well, and then also the other one is at the Scott Edwards Gallery on Decatur Street by Euphis Ruth. But first of all, I'll talk about Sacabo. Both artists use the mid-19th century process of the wet collodion plate method of photography. This was developed around 1850 and sort of took the place of the daguerreotypes, you know, the shiny surfaces. And Sacabo, she cuts out collages, makes her composition, and then photographs it. And if you look at her work, it's sort of ghostly images of art in a previous age. Some of her paintings look like right out of the Renaissance subjects. Others are the modernists of the 20th century, the Cubists and so forth. You see that work all through her work. Yes.
Is that like silver nitrate that they're using?
Well, they use a silver nitrate and a collodion to fix it. It's a wet plate they actually put in, shoot it, fix it. And later, then they put a black piece of paper on the back of it in order to turn a negative into a positive.
Right.
Then And what Sakabo does, she actually uses the wet collodion tin type process, where instead of using the glass plate, she photographs on sensitized tin plate, black plates. So you turn a negative image into a positive in the developing process. Now the next artist, Euphus Ruth, who is from Mississippi, the Delta of Greenville, Mississippi. Oh, Greenville, Mississippi. Greenville, Mississippi. The Scott down on Decatur and the Faubourg Marigny. Use the same process, but he uses a little earliest, the actual wet plate process, where he takes the wet collodion, shoots it with the original huge wooden camera and lenses, and his darkroom is an old Cadillac that he drives around the scene and develops his place in this old Cadillac hearse.
Oh, wow.
And then he backs it with black paper to give you the positive image. This is the St. Roch Cemetery, and he's called the cemetery walker, this whole series, where he travels throughout New Orleans, some of the oldest cemeteries, and also up in the Mississippi Delta country, photographing the old cemeteries alongside the road. Now, these are contemporary photographs, but the images look 19th century because of the process, you know. So I really, you know, they're very, very good. I do go see them.
Oh, wow.
Two old methods, new subject matter.
Well, Josephine has been around, of course, for many years.
Yes,
It is so nice, though, that she's being honored at NOMA.
At NOMA, that's right. You know, at NOMA.
She's always been worthy, but
well, it's really good to see these people, you know, local artists getting recognized by the major museum in the city like this. And she divides her time between New Orleans and Mexico and shooting down there.
And of course, she's married to Dot Wonk, what a
Wonk,
fascinating couple, the playwright, and he's an artist in his own right, a graphic
I always love
artist.
the name too. Dot
Yeah,
Wonk.
Dot Wonk. Dot Wonk. Anyway, well, wonderful.
Yes, good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Katie Dolzell gave us the names of the two area bridges, one named after a former governor and the other named after a song written by a former governor. Huey Long and Sunshine, named after the song You Were My Sunshine by Governor Jimmy Davis. Now, tonight's question. These two thoroughfares parallel City Park, going to and from Lake Pontchartrain. What are they? Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes: a Louisiana Life magazine subscription, the children's books, a Mardi Gras dictionary, and Gaston Goes to the Mardi Gras, also including with Gaston a smaller version of the book, a little baby-sized book, both published by Pelican. And New Orleans music composer, pianist Kevin George's CD, Piano Reflections, available through iTunes and cdbaby.com. We also have a gift certificate for two, courtesy of Vianne's Tea House, offering their culinary and gourmet tea experience. And then tonight we have a T-shirt as worn by Kelsey Schreiber, our own Kelsey, with a message beyond a reasonable trout. Okay. Oh, from our friends at wearablevegetables.com. Also, we want to thank Pelican Publishing for their books. And we want to let you know that WYES.org is where you'll find our online calendar to see our lineup of events, and also you can link to our WYES YouTube channel to view our program if you missed it. And now, though, it's time for Mr. Allen.
Well, it must certainly be after Mardi Gras, because theaters are opening up again. It's an amazing thing. But before we get to what's on tap on the boards right now locally, let's talk about an event that we've had that we sort of have to have a little bit of a funeral for, and that is the New Orleans Fringe. I'm sorry to say that there is going to be no more New Orleans Fringe. But the good news is it's being reborn, like from the ashes the phoenix rises again. It's just going to be the faux real group, okay? That's FAUX/REAL, for real. And this is going to be taken up by a New Orleans Defender, Ben Mintz, publisher. He's going to be more or less taking the ball and running with it with a number of people, key players from the previous staff with New Orleans Fringe. But the Fringe itself, which was a 5-day event, essentially, starting out on Wednesday and ending on Sunday, is now going to be expanded for 3 weeks. It's going to run from the November 5th through the 22nd. So they're really going to flesh it out. Now, in the past, what they had was a number of venues which were sponsored by the New Orleans Fringe Fest. That is out of the picture now. Now, all venues will be bring your own venues, which are essentially the artists will go to a place, they will find a venue, and they will put on their own shows. And the faux real people will actually promote it, and they will give them the opportunity to have programs and things of that sort as support. So it's going to expand what's going to happen. This will allow more artists to come into New Orleans and present their shows. So instead of coming in for just 5 days, they'll be able to come in a series of weeks. So this is going to be wonderful. So 3 weeks from November the 5th through the 22nd, and they're going to start doing auditions, etc., around May. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you are a performance artist, keep your eyes peeled. We're going to have that as well. Also, they'll even have cocktail competitions. So they're really expanding their idea about what they're going to do as a festival. They also are going to have a micro-fest, which is going to be independently produced festivals within the larger festival. So it has all the markings of something very, very interesting and very, very good. Buttons will still be required, though. Okay. All right, let's go to some of the plays now. At the Jefferson Performing Arts Center's Teatro Wego, we're going to have Sex Please, We're 60. And this is the play about women of a certain age and men of a certain age. And there's Peter Gabb in the center there. We've got Catherine Talbot, and you've got, of course, Claire Conti on his left, our right, and in the center, Margot Fanning. And it also stars Mary Pauley, the award-winning actress. So we should mention that this is going to be about that certain blue pill that men take, but also the play deals with a certain blue pill named Venusia that women will take. And, of course, it'll have the same effect, hopefully. This is directed by Uncle Wayne Daguerrepaut, but it's all completely clean, I should say. It's not going to be, even though the subject matter might be a little racy, it's not going to be something that you couldn't bring people who are of a younger age to go to. So Sex Please We're 60 runs through March the 15th, and it opens this weekend. So hopefully you'll get out to Wego to go check that out. Also coming up in March, Cabaret Month is back with a vengeance. And Sue Gonzi is happy to announce, along with Fred Nucio over at Mid-City Arts Theater, that this is going to be a month-long series of events. Some of the people who are going to be there, first off, their crown jewel in this particular month of events for Cabaret is going to be the Shay Shay Cabaret, starring none other than Janet Shay and Jefferson Turner. They're going to be singing together. Jefferson, of course, will be on the piano doing support and accompaniment to Janet, who will sing. And it's going to be a wonderful time, an opportunity to see that. Plus, several other people, including one of my favorites, Bremner Duthie, will be on the bill. So we want to make sure that everybody knows about that. That'll be the whole month of Cabaret, and a lot of surprises for that as well. So we hope that everybody will get a chance to go out there and see that. And I have an announcement to make about the Bayou Theater, Bayou Playhouse Theater's production of Harvey. You may remember, we talked a little bit about this. If you didn't know, it's being directed by our award-winning director, Dane Rhodes. Dane actually is directing none other than the guy you would least expect to do the role, in a sense, because he hasn't been on a stage. It's Perry Martin in 30 years. This is the first time he's been from behind the director's chair. He's coming back up. So it's going to be an interesting situation, but because of some interesting situations that developed, other actors who had to take other jobs, etc., they have pushed it back. Even though the releases said it was going to be coming up this week, it's actually going to be March the 6th as the opening, and not in February. It's going to be March the 6th, and it's going to run all the way to the 29th. So keep that in mind, the Bayou Playhouse in Lockport. And we also want to remind everybody that there'll be some auditions coming up of a special nature for Dirty Rotten Scoundrels at the Rivertown Theaters. Show. And again, the best thing about this is that they did this about 3 years ago with Rob Pavlovich and Gary Rucker in the roles, and they're going to have the whole cast back again. So it's going to reprise the same thing. So that's going to be great. Also at Uptown at the Anthony Bean Community Theater, they're doing Shakespeare, believe it or not, and Anthony wants everybody to come out March the 6th to the 22nd for Measure for Measure. That's going to be, you know, of interest, I think, for people out there, and I'd love to see what they're going to be able to do. And last but not least, I want to mention about something very special. George Dansker has been doing these lectures at the New Orleans Public Library, and he's going to have the final of his series of lectures about Broadway. It's going to take place at the New Orleans Public Library on Thursday, March the 5th, and it's going to star none other than our very own lovely Amy Alvarez, who's going to be the singer featured. They'll be doing a number of shows that will be of the millennial era and up until present day, such as Wicked and such as Shrek. And there's Amy with Andrea Marcovici, one of her heroes, if you will, in Cabaret.
Absolutely.
And it was Andrea Marcovici, you know, who was the star of the show that Barbara Motley went to see with her husband Biff. They were so impressed with Cabaret that they said, we have to do this in New Orleans.
And they brought her down here. I remember seeing her at
exactly. So that's how Lachette was born. So there you go.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to sort of do a PS that, of course, next week, Suddenly Last Summer is going to be opening at this new space called the Powerhouse Theater. It's part of Ache.
Yes, You know, unfortunately,
I know you talk more about that. But,
I was expecting that we'd have a little bit more about it, but it was just announced, and they just opened, and it looks like $7.4 million facility. Looks like it's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be an important new space, and I love the fact that the reason for the name was because it was a powerhouse for streetcars in that area, in that neighborhood. So yet another addition and amenity to O.C. Haley in Central Haley. Wonderful. Really looking forward to that.
1731 Barone Street is where it is.
And one of many, this is Southern Reps production, of course, but one of many offerings coming up for the Tennessee Williams Festival, which we look forward to talking more about.
Get that plug in.
I have to. I have to. And before we go to my picks, I wanted to announce the winners of our Carnival Quiz, which was held during our recent broadcast of the Rex Ball and the meeting of the courts, and that was, of course, Mardi Gras night. We got a lot of responses, and special thanks to Joan Creason and Sharon Stoney for helping to coordinate all of this. First of all, I will give you the question and then the answers. First question. All right. There is always a jazz band on this Rex float. Name the float. His Majesty's Bandwagon. All right. Very good. Second question. In the course of New Orleans history, name two royal personages who were guests of Rex on Mardi Gras. You could have said the Duke and Duchess of Windsor or the Grand Duke Alexis Romanov. All right. Third question. For many years, the carnival balls of both Comus and Rex were both staged at this city-owned building. Name the structure. Municipal Auditorium, now known as the Morris FX Jeff Auditorium. So a lot of people answered these correctly, and so we randomly drew the prizes and the winners, and we've got our prizes, and let me tell you about them. A stay for two at Homus House Plantation, also including dinner at Latil's, and so that's fantastic. Carolyn M. Harris. A Millon Fayet. A Millon Fayet pendant. It's a heart, intaglio heart that has If Ever I Cease to Love on it. Joan and Vincent Ferreira. Maybe they can share it, right?
I was wondering
a 2015 Rex Proclamation. Barry Canzaneri. 2015 Rex Parade Bulletin. Shelley Thomas. The book Mardi Gras, Chronicles of the New Orleans Carnival by Errol Laborde and published by Pelican. Thank you, Pelican, once again. Marguerite Rogers. And the DVD of the 2015 Rex Ball and Meeting of the Courts, Doris Bruno. And we will have all that information up at WYES.org if you missed those names or the answers. And now, though, our picks. But, Poppy, you're first, kiddo.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a book signing that is an absolute not to be missed, and that's next Thursday at Octavia Books. Jill Benson and Sam Hanna. Now, that's Tarek Hanna's brother from Sucre. He did all the food photography. They're signing their new book, Fun, Funky, and Fabulous, and it really is. It's New Orleans casual restaurant recipes. It's a beautiful book, and everybody needs to go out and get one.
Very good. John?
Well, I have two of them. One of them's at the Lemieux Gallery. It's Alan Gerson. Okay. Well, of course, this is three-dimensional work. He's better known for his paintings, but in this case, he's doing some three-dimensional works that I really enjoy. This is sort of an archaeological dig, pseudo, faux, but it's really nice work that he's done. I enjoyed that, seeing that. And the second one is at the New Orleans Museum of Art. It opened today. It's Congo Across the Waters. And it talks about Congolese art before Europeans arrived in the Congo, art created after that, and that influence on African Americans in the American South. Good show. Excellent show.
Great. Ellen?
I want to elaborate on something that the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra is doing before I get to my other pick, and that is they're doing And the Oscar Goes To, which is all the Academy Award-winning music that they can cram into one night at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. But they're also going to have our local actors, A.J. Allegra and Callie Russell and several other people who are going to be on the program who are going to do speaking parts. So they're going to be narrators. It's going to be really fascinating. I think it's going to be fun. That'll be next Friday night with the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra. Don't miss that. And, of course, speaking of A.J. Allegra, I would be remiss if I did not mention the fact that he is going to have his final performances in the title role of Camille. So that's going to be at Mid-City Theater.
Do you think it'll be held over?
No, I don't think it's going to have the opportunity to do that.
Too many busy people.
Well, he's got to be on stage next Friday for the LPO too.
That's true.
So no, they're preparing for a cabaret month, and so they
and
have
I
to
know
do that.
Ricky's got When You're Smiling coming up.
When You're Smiling is getting ready to open up, and of course they're already selling out of tickets. I've already been advised that I better make sure that I'm getting over there early because of that. But yeah, and I have to make an announcement too that that it was slated that Mason Wood was going to be in that production. I understand that Gary Rucker, who is of course the artistic director there, along with Kelly Fushi, is going to be stepping into that role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope things are well. And now my picks. Ryan Fertel signs his brand new book, Imagining the Creole City. That's tomorrow afternoon at the Historic New Orleans Collection. That's right, the one on Royal Street. Admission is free, and you can visit hnoc.org for more information on that. Congratulations, Ryan. He's been working on that book for a while. We're really so happy for him. And famed opera singer and Loyola alum, Brian Hemel. Yay, Brian. Here he is in Les Troyens. He will be celebrating the release of his new CD, Heroique, with a recital this Sunday afternoon at his alma mater. Visit ticket at loyno.edu to purchase tickets. And don't miss the 4th annual Greyhawk benefit concert, including the likes of Rockin' Doopsie Jr., Walter Wolfman Washington, and others. That's this Sunday evening at Southport Hall. Tickets are only $20, and proceeds benefit the Greater New Orleans Youth Orchestra. For more info, go to gnoyo.org. And the Mark Grote Visiting Artist Lecture continues next Tuesday evening, featuring Louisiana native Keith Saunier. And the artist will discuss the development of his work and its impact on the world at large. Email gallery@loyno.edu for more information on that as well. And looking ahead, FemFest 2015, an art exhibit featuring Louisiana women artists that opens next Friday with a reception from 6 to 9 p.m. It will be on view through March the 27th at the Jazz and Heritage Foundation building on Rampart. That's the George Wein Center. Also next Friday, Chris Champagne presents a brand new show. He is so prolific. The Squirrel Hat That Kicked the Hornet's Nest, 8 p.m. at the Steak Knife right there on Harrison Avenue. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Good night. All right.
Very good.
Yeah, the fourth.
Support for Steppin Out is made possible by local author Sarada Bonnet. In Notes of Forgiveness, Bonnet shares her childhood story as daughter of famed rockabilly singer Sherry Davis. Notes of Forgiveness, available in bookstores and at saradabonnet.com.